Helps if you take it off of mute. Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to see you all. I know we didn't have one in July because we typically don't have a town hall meeting in July. So this will be a little bit longer than normal meeting because we got some catching up and updates and stuff to do, and you all have questions. So with that being said, this is our August edition of our town hall meeting, and I'll call forth Pastor Elliott to kick us off in prayer and then give you the pastoral care update. Pastor Elliott. Buying time.
Sorry, I was taking care of business. All right, monkey business. Oh no, you've been talking to my father. That's not good. All right. Well, welcome everybody. We had July off, didn't we? So, did you forget what I looked like? Look a little older. I do. Okay. I'm glad we're talking after this meeting. I asked for it, I received it. That's very true. All right. Well, let's bow our heads in prayer. Dearest Lord, Heavenly Father, wow, we give you thanks for the beauty of this day and for this place that you have created, the Lutheran Haven. We've already seen an example right now of just how community can be, with some joy and some fun. But Lord, we come before you now not only to hear the joy and the fun of what's going on around here, but the serious business as well. We ask now that you would be with us in this meeting, that you would provide us your Holy Spirit to guide us and keep us. But, oh Lord, more than anything else, may everything that we do here glorify you and praise your name. Give us now your Holy Spirit, O Lord, and guide us unto this meeting so that we may have your joy. This we all ask in Jesus' name. Amen. All righty. First slide. Next slide. All righty. So off with Bible studies. Guess what? Tomorrow the Bible studies kick off again. Yay! All right. So we already have the Monday morning Bible study, which never stops, except in rare cases where the person leading it just can't do it that week. But it is Monday at 10 a.m. in the ALF. We invite you to come on over, mix with the ALF residents, and have a little bit of Bible study. It's a half an hour long. It's not a long commitment by any stretch of the imagination. They're going through the Gospel of Mark. You might find something in there you would enjoy, and I'm sure Pastor Schaefer would love to see you as well. So we encourage you to come on over to the ALF on Monday morning. Wednesday morning Bible studies restart. Men's and women's Bible studies are restarting up, as well as the Wednesday evening Bible study, which is going to be led right off the bat by our deaconess intern, Alyssa Choate, who you'll meet in a moment, not right this moment. And that's enough of Bible studies, right? We're supposed to come and hear God's word, so please, let's do that together. Worship, of course, continues 8, 9:30, and 11 at St. Luke's, along with the 9:30 a.m. service at the Assisted Living Facility. We had 54 at the ALF this past Sunday, which is wonderful. It got a little warm, actually. I think we're going to have to turn the air conditioning down. Can we afford that? Too late. Too bad. We're going to do it anyway. All right. But it's a great problem to have, and we look forward to that service even growing just a little bit more. We also have the Afternoon Divine, which is August the 24th, and I hear the vicar is up to bat for that one. So if you want to hear the vicar, come on out on the 24th at 1:30. That continues also with a little bit of food afterwards. We get to sit and have some fellowship and chat, catch up with each other. It's a wonderful thing. Koinonia has also restarted. That's the next slide. There we go. That's meeting the second and fourth Fridays. If you have any questions about that and what they do, please see Deaconess McLean or Deaconess Intern Choate. All right. The Haven Flea Market is coming up. You all guys all know that, right? All right. We continue to have a prayer tent there, but I would like to open that up just a little bit. Not to have just the professional church workers do it, but you as well. So if you'd like to come, may I help man the prayer tent for a little bit and pray with people who walk up? We'd love to have you. We had, I believe, 8 come up last time, which was really neat because there were some really hard Those are some really broken hearts that needed some tending to, and you'd be surprised how we can do that for one another. So we encourage you to reach out to me and tell me if you'd like to volunteer for that, and we'll put you on the list. Other volunteers. Yes, we still need a piano player for Tuesday morning's devotions at the ALF at 8 a.m. If you can play and you're available then, you don't even have to be available every Tuesday. Yeah, I'm scraping. I'll take whatever I can get. Okay, so if you're available, we'd love to have you. It'd also be nice to have somebody who would be willing to be a substitute on most any day, just in case somebody can't make it. Like Dennis, he's on vacation for 3 weeks. He could use a fill-in on Wednesday. So we'd love to have a fill-in as well. God hospitality, that's a great question. So if you have that hospitality bug, which is not something I have, the gift of hospitality, I'd like you to reach out to myself or either Deaconess McLean. We've got an idea brewing for January, February, and it's going to need some hospitality touches. So if you're interested in maybe helping us put together a cookout, we'd love to have you. Looks like I have the flea market prayer tent twice. Well, I guess I wanted to make sure we had volunteers for the prayer tent. All right. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Deaconess Intern Alyssa Choate. And in case you didn't notice, she is a Layenbauer. So that means she's related to Steve over at the church and Kate here in the Haven. So behave. All right. Without further ado.
Hello, I'm Deaconess Intern Alyssa Choate. I've gotten to meet some of you, and I'm looking forward to meeting all of you before, we'll say the month is out. That's my goal. I don't know if I'm going to meet it, but I'm going to try. Some of you have also met my husband, and he's really been enjoying coming out and getting to meet all of you as well and his conversations. He comes home very happy every day. He's a social butterfly, so it's good for him. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the Bible study coming up starting tomorrow. I'm really excited. I'd love to see you there. We're going to be talking about the Judges and Kings, kind of a look between the Exodus and the exile. So kind of a how did we get here? What was happening with God's people that they got taken over by Assyria and Babylon. So, and it's also a good look at how God can take crooked people to make straight paths for his plans. So I'd love to see you. Like I said, I'm excited about it. So anything else, Pastor?
Where are you from?
Oh, okay. Well, I grew up in Lake Ozark, Missouri. My father's a pastor. My brother's a pastor. So I said, I'm not going to do church work. And Jesus laughed at me. So here I am. I worked in a church for 5 years. I was a youth director. Again, kind of God blindfolded me, and I woke up one day, and I'm like, hey, I wasn't going to do this. But I did, and I loved it, and so then he led me to apply to seminary so I could learn more about serving his people. And then I met my husband in the summer Greek class. Very romantic. But he's a great guy, and God brought us together, and we're very excited to get to be a ministry team. And yeah, I'm pleased as punch to be here. So, any questions?
I have extra papers today. All right. So hello, Stephanie with marketing. How's everybody doing? Yay. All right. So first up, we're going to introduce our newest residents here at the Haven. And I know at least one of them is here today. But first we have Pastor Elmer and Joyce Ruscher from Sanford, Florida. And their new cottage is at 2101 Lark Court. So when you see them, say hello. And then we have Bob and Colleen Eldridge from Belle Isle, Florida. They're new residents over at the Landings, apartment 213. And then last but not least, and Elsie, you can stand in the back. We have Elsie Macon, all the way from Maitland, Florida. Elsie, you want to stand and give them a wave? And Elsie, her new cottage is over on Inner Circle Drive, so we're happy that they're all here. And at one of the last meetings, someone asked me to give a little marketing update. It's been a while since we've really talked anything other than new residents, so I just have a few things to share with you guys today. Maybe. There we go. All right. So our current wait list right now combined is 105 depositors. And as far as future closings, we have 3 closings on the calendar right now. We have 2 more for the month of August, and we have 1 scheduled for September so far. And, you know, some of you have been here for a long time, some are newer, but just so you kind of know how we're doing things is we've gone more towards a sell upon completion model. So as cottages turn over, typically, we're not this month because we're getting ready to make some changes, but we are waiting until we have an idea on an estimated completion date before we're reaching out to depositors. And we're doing a lot of the selections in-house. So when we call out, we already pretty much know what the selections and the units are going to look like. So we can say to a prospect, you know, this is where the cottage is located. This is what the selections are going to look like. If they're local, they can come in and, you know, look at the selections and touch and feel and all that. And then basically, if they like it, they can go ahead and give their 10% deposit. If they, you know, are sold on, I want white cabinets or I want this particular type of flooring, they can kind of let us know what they like, and they can maybe wait for another cottage that might be a better fit, or landings as well. That's just kind of helped us through the whole COVID thing with supply chain issues and just kind of expediting things. We're doing anything we can to make that process move along a little quicker. We do have some availability in the landings right now. If any of you follow us on Facebook, you've probably seen that. So if you're our best marketing tool, if you can help us spread the word on that, we have some first floor units, Willow, which is what we've had a lot of over the past 6 to 9 months, which means we've really worked our wait list. So anyone who's waiting for a Willow is basically already here. So the great news is we have something that's going to be available for immediate occupancy once it's complete. But if you guys can help us spread the word to all your Lutheran friends, because you do have to be Lutheran to move into independent living, that could really be helpful to us. What else? So as far as events, the end of July, Jennifer represented us at the LCMS National Convention in Milwaukee, which was really fun for her. I don't think there's anyone who can represent the Haven better than Jennifer. So that was a great opportunity for her to grow and just, you know, share her faith. And she got to go to the services, and she just really had a great time. And then she tacked on a vacation to it. So that was really fun for her as well. Thursday, we have a lunch and learn for prospects. We have a realtor, Paul Henderson from Keller Williams, coming, and the topic is downsizing made easy. And we try and do those quarterly. We're kind of back to doing that again, at least quarterly. It's just to get depositors and future depositors on campus, you know, and help them with some sort of topic that might help with their move and their downsize, which all of you guys know how much fun that is. So anything that we can do to help them, we try and do that. In September, we have the Florida Georgia District President's Equip Conference, which is going to be here in Orlando. And then Pastor Elliott from St. Luke's is going to be starting another explorations class on campus, which is something that we've done just to help folks that are wanting to go through that membership class at St. Luke's. Their typical class is in the evenings, which can be a little bit harder for people who maybe don't like to drive in the evenings, things like that. And so Pastor Elliott has been doing that for us the last few years, and it's been a great opportunity for people to explore, you know, St. Luke's, and if that's a good fit for them. So that's that. Does anybody have any questions for me? Yes.
Do you know if you've gotten any results from the Lutheran Witness ad?
We have, yeah, we have. We've gotten some traffic from that and from the Portals of Prayer. Recently, we're starting to do some stuff in the SELC does like an email. And so the lady from there is giving us an opportunity to put some stuff in there as well. I see one fact that I missed that I was going to share with you guys as far as like, because I know everyone sees all these cottages under renovation and, when is somebody moving in? And Raleigh's going to talk a little bit more about that. But just to give you some numbers for 2022, we closed 13 cottages and 7 landings units. And then so far for 2023, we've closed 11 cottages and 7 landings units. So, yeah. Any other questions? All right, next up, Lori Baker, Life Enrichment Coordinator, I think is her official title. I think so. Sounds good to me.
Or all the above. Good afternoon. How's everyone? Okay, so we're going to talk about your activities for the month and going into September as well. So tomorrow, right here in this room, bingo, 1:30. All prizes will be from the state of Louisiana. I want to thank all the volunteers who called in who want to be a bingo caller. I appreciate that. I at least got 4. If anyone else is interested, please see me. We can get it spread out over the rest of the year. Birthday luncheon for the next few months. We would like to support our community donors who made our benevolent care fund a success with either their gift baskets or gift cards. So we're going to honor them for the next probably 15 months, since I have 15 restaurants, give or take a few, because I know there is one request in there that they want to go back to Hollerback. So we'll scoot that in there somehow. But this month we are going to honor TJ Seafood Shack on the 25th at 11:30. Sign-up sheet is over outside of my office. 2000s, Haven Through the Decades, will continue with Linda Kirk presenting the 7th of 7 presentations, which she'll be talking about the 2000s, and that will be held here Monday, August 28th at 2 p.m. Reminder, 75th anniversary is coming up on the 29th. We will have celebration and Thanksgiving in the sanctuary, and our dinner will be in Founders Hall starting at 6. And just as a reminder, all RSVPs to the concierge at the landings by the 22nd of August. We really need to get a head count on that. So if you haven't responded, please do so as soon as possible. Coming up on the 30th of August, we are going to try something different. We're going to have a paint party. You don't need to be experienced. You will have an instructor who will give you step-by-step instructions on how to paint. We'll have all materials included. It is at no cost to you. Seating is limited to 25 residents. We do have 13 signed up right now, so if you like, you can sign up by the 25th for that. And then Haven Art Club, and this club is already established. We just want to recruit new members. If you are interested in art, we have volunteers who will teach you ceramics, how to just do different projects. So if you're interested in that, please come see me and we can add you to our list. And also, if you are an artist or a professional in artistry, come and see us. We're looking for volunteers as well. And then our Ark Encounter trip, we will have a meet and greet on Thursday, September 14th at 10 a.m. here in Fellowship Hall. And our trip will depart on September 24th, 8 a.m. sharp, right here. We have 37 residents going as of today. We still have room. If anyone's interested, come see me, and I'll talk to you about that. And then last but not least is our Labor Day barbecue, September 4th here in Fellowship Hall from 12 to 2. We'll have barbecue food, salads, desserts, and drinks. And this is a ticketed event, so if you have not gotten your tickets, please come see me. You will need your ticket to get your food. And I have given out 96 tickets so far, so get it as soon as you can. Are there any questions for me? Yes.
Will Linda's presentation be taped and be available to us?
Will Linda's presentation be taped and available? That I don't know. We haven't taped them in the past. I can find out for you and let you know. Anyone else? Okay, then I'm going to turn it over to Julie Cluck, our Assistant Living Administrator.
I think we're all going to be asking for volunteers today. So it's kind of funny. Good morning. It's not morning, but good afternoon, everybody. I just wanted to introduce a couple of people that you may not have seen before. I know I see you out in the community a little bit, but, sorry. Yeah, I totally went wrong on my slides, but Angel Graff, this is Angel right here. She's shy. She doesn't want to talk in front of everybody, so I'm going to make her. And she's going to like it because she's going to learn that you are friendly people, and she is here for you. So here she goes.
You see how she did that? I've been here 2-3 years now. I was at the nursing home first, then assisted living. I oversee the clinical needs at the lodge and the assisted living. If you're in the hospital, need to go to assisted living, I'll do assessments for that. I can go to your home as well. If you need to go to assisted living, I can do the assessments there. I do all of the assessments for all the residents if they have ECC services as well. All the education for med techs, nurses, everything like that.
Well, welcome, Angel, to the microphone. I've worked with Angel for over 10 years through some other places as well. She's very knowledgeable. She's a very good nurse. So if you she doesn't like to stand up, but neither do I. So that's why I did it to her. Okay. Jessica Estacio, she's not here with us today. She had some family things that she needed to take care of. So she made herself a slide for you. So I'm presenting. That's what Jessica looks like. She is a nursing supervisor over at the assisted living building, where a lot of people are coming to church on Sunday. So I was so happy to hear 54 people. That's great. Anyway, again, Jessica's been in nursing for 23 years. She is an LPN. She does help all the assisted living residents and the staff over at the assisted living. I've worked with her for over 10 years as well. So there's a lot of clinical expertise available to the residents around the Haven. That's pretty much all, I think. And then there's Deborah, but you probably all know Deborah, so we'll let you talk with Deborah.
Hello, I know most of you. I see a lot of familiar faces. So I am the Life Enrichment Director for the Lodge and the ALF, and occasionally Lori and I combine forces. Lori has some fun things, and I convince sometimes the ALF people to come over and visit with you guys. Also on Saturday, I'm going to promote one of our events is we do porch visit, and we encourage all the ALF residents to come out on the porch so they can get to know the cottage and the lodge residents. It's very important that we establish bonds together, and I'm very glad to be here. I've been here over 4.5 years and working with the team for that long as well.
So she forgot her next one that's coming up is volunteers.
Oh, I, like Lori, love volunteers to call bingo. I have bingo 3 times a week. 3 times. Lori has it once. So if you ever want to come over and play bingo with us, you are you are more than welcome. And if I have people who like to call bingo, you can imagine me calling bingo 3 times a week. I'm always looking for good, strong voices. So if you want to volunteer, she has put my information up there as well. So, and if you don't want to call bingo, but you want to volunteer, I have plenty of volunteer opportunities. You can read to the residents one-on-one if that's your thing. Some people like one-on-one. If you like group, right? Yeah.
We'd like you to bring your ideas also.
Yes, yes. Anything that you're passionate about. Because whatever your passion is, like if you're passionate about learning scripture, you're going to be able to share that with a resident, and that joy is going to leak out of you and be with that resident. So anything that you're interested that I could share with the ALF would be wonderful. And also the other thing that I'm kind of looking for is transportation occasionally. We have some residents who maybe have a loved one at the lodge, which is the memory care, and occasionally they might need a drive here and there on the weekends, and transportation is not always available to them. So residents that have golf carts, I know people have helped us in the past. I'm not going to call Mr. Pedley out, but he has helped me numerous times in transporting residents just around campus. So if you have a golf cart or you're willing to volunteer, those are my information numbers.
Thank you. Any questions for any of us up here? Okay. I think it's all good. I just wanted to talk, you guys can sit, or you can stand up here with me. That'd be great. I'll be here. You can be my support now. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the resident alert device. I think there's probably about almost 15 people that are out in the cottages right now who have them, as well as all of the residents at the landings. It is a service that we offer here at Lutheran Haven. I just put up a little picture to show you what it looks like, which you may already know what it looks like. But something new has occurred with this. We will no longer be calling you as soon as you activate that alarm. It seemed to be quite a confusing, overwhelming conundrum for you, and I don't want it to be difficult or challenging on your end. So what we are going to do is we're going to follow up with you within a day or so. It may be Julie, from Be Well, the other Julie, the little one. I'm the big one, she's the little one. And Irene sometimes may call you. So we will follow up with you, just so you know. I don't want you to think that we're not going to. We're just not going to call immediately because you're in the middle of a situation where you can talk to somebody to get you emergency services. Okay? That's all I really wanted to say about that. And I showed you our nurse leadership, and I'm the administrator, so I'm a nurse as well. There's lots of nurses over there. Oh, this is important. So our ALF is expected to be full probably within the next week over at, there's 24 available beds that are all accounted for at this time. So we're very happy about that. A lot of people loving and being with each other and doing different activities, and there's way more than bingo. Okay, we're gonna do way more than bingo. I heard you say, I hope there's more than bingo. And over at the lodge currently, for the census over at the lodge assisted living, we have 18 current residents over there. So it leaves us with 4 available beds and 1 that we have as a respite when somebody needs to come in for a short stay. And as far as the renovation goes, probably Raleigh might talk about that. So I don't really have a whole lot to talk about, except for that it looks like it will be done phase 1 mid-October. It was mid-September, now it's mid-October, but that's how construction goes, right? So we're just really happy that we're going to have 30 more assisted living rooms, and can't wait to show you when they're all done. That's all I have. If anybody has questions, bingo.
When I drop it on the floor, I get this little phone call from the guys through the machine. Tell us what the procedure is.
That is the procedure. So if you drop it on the floor, somebody is supposed to talk back to you through this little device. It's a two-way radio. So you are able to tell them if you're okay or not. And if you're not okay, they're going to send 911 for you.
What about being phone called by?
We're not doing that. We're not going to call you until like the next day, probably. We're not going to, from the Haven. Nobody's coming over to your apartment and opening your door. Okay? 911's going to come. So, okay, but the Haven group, like you're talking about, we're going to follow up with you, but in a different way. Okay? So if you have any questions, my number's up there, and I'm over at the assisted living, so just ask for the big Julie. Okay. I think Vince is next. Woohoo, Vince!
All right. Hey, hello. How's everybody doing? We're almost done. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Vince, and I'm the health and wellness coordinator here. This is one of the few times I'll stand up here and not make you guys do exercise, so I'll be nice today. You want to go? We can get on. A few things that we got coming that we're working on here that's new. We have we're working on establishing a walking trail. It's going to be like a 1 mile route, kind of around campus, and we're gonna have some distance markers that you can see how far you've walked. We're looking for suggestions on how we should do those distance markers. So if you guys have any suggestions, feel free to come to me with those. The time frame on that, we're just waiting for the heat to die down a little bit here. So sometime in the fall, okay? Also, keep an eye out in your farm boxes. We're going to start sending out health and wellness newsletters. They're just going to contain health tips, things that you can implement in your day-to-day life. Just a few to name a few. It's going to be nutrition, fitness and exercise, stress management, some safety tips that you can implement in your house, hydration and sleep health, and many more. So keep an eye out in your farm boxes for those. Also, for all the residents in the assisted living facility, I'm going to start I'm going to open up a group class over here in the gym, kind of like what we have right now going on, but it's going to be for the assisted living facility residents. So I will get with you guys on times and schedules for when we can start that. Basically what we're going to be doing, we're going to be working on strength and conditioning and cardio in there. So a lot of good stuff. For those of you who don't know, we have exercise classes here in Fellowship Hall Monday, Thursday, and Friday at 9 o'clock. So Monday we're doing strength and stability. So we're doing strength exercises with a little bit of balance and functional movements. Thursday is going to be all balance. So we're just working on a lot of functional, static, and dynamic balance exercises. And then Friday is going to be an all strength day. And for those of you who haven't been yet, we have started using some TheraBands. So we work upper body and lower body now. So feel free to come out to those if you're interested. What's that? Come early, grab a seat. That's right. We'd love to have you. All right, so it's hot outside. Those of you who haven't realized, it's very hot. So heat exhaustion. Heat exhaustion is a heat-related illness that can occur when the body's temperature overheats due to prolonged heat exposure or not enough water. So we're going to talk about that here just a little bit. A few symptoms of heat exhaustion. Just name a few. We got weakness and fatigue, dizziness and lightheadedness, cool, moist skin. Even though you are in the heat, you can still feel cool and moist with goosebumps. So keep an eye out for that. Muscle cramps or the feeling of fainting. Okay, so keep an eye out if you're in the heat for a long period of time, you start to notice symptoms like that. What can you do? What can you do to stay safe? Stay hydrated. Drink lots of water throughout the day, even if you're not thirsty. Okay, I know you guys hear me say that a lot, and I'm going to keep saying it. So drink lots of water. Bring your water bottles with you everywhere. Wear appropriate clothing. Okay, so choose lightweight, loose-fitting clothing, light colors. It'll help keep your body nice and cool. You can even wear a hat to kind of protect your face from the sun, as well as sunglasses. Make sure you take proper rest breaks. When you're working or exercising in hot conditions, take regular breaks in shaded or cool areas to help your body cool down. And also, just one more, you can avoid going in the heat at peak temperatures during the times. Usually outdoor during the hottest part of the day is usually between 10 and 4 o'clock. So keep an eye out for that. Listen to your body. So if you suspect someone is experiencing heat exhaustion, what should you do? You should move the person to a cooler place if you can, safely. You should encourage them to drink lots of water. You could even consider a sports drink with electrolytes in it, like a Gatorade or a Powerade. You can loosen if they're wearing like a tight button-up shirt, you can loosen some of the buttons on their shirt. That'll kind of help cool down their body temperatures. You can also apply cool, damp cloths to their skin and have them take a nice, cool shower. So those are just a few little tips to kind of help if you do see somebody is having some of those symptoms of heat exhaustion. That's some things that you can do to help. So yeah, that's pretty much it for me. If you guys have any questions, feel free to contact me. This is my office right over here. Come see me whenever you'd like. All right, any questions? All righty, well, thank you very much.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Terrence Phillips. I am the new general manager of culinary. I've been here for about 3 weeks now. I would be stretching the truth if I've told you it has been uneventful. So we've had some challenges, but we will get past them. My goal at Lutheran Haven is to provide everyone who comes on campus, everyone who has a meal on campus or with us has an exceptional experience. That is my goal. That's what I plan to do. And I want to hear from anyone at any time who does not have a great meal or great experience when they're at the Haven. Okay, my history, my background is from culinary. I owned 2 restaurants in Orlando for about 8 years, 2 seafood restaurants, Something Fishy, great name at the time, which I've since sold and left to my son. So you will still see that name around, hopefully doing much better, so he doesn't have to borrow any more money from me. And he does continue to do a good job, him and his new wife. I also have a background in information technology, so I will try to bring some more technology into the restaurant industry because a lot of that in hospitality industry has been lacking for many years. We just want to do those things to provide everyone better service, better quality, and just an overall great experience. I'm originally from New York City, so I'm never moving back there. Loved it. By way of Buffalo, I lived in Buffalo for about 8 years, never going back there. But you know, that's where I raised my kids. My kids grew up and spent their primary years in Buffalo, and I tell everybody this, you know, Buffalo is beautiful in the summertime. Those 17 days of summer in Buffalo are beautiful. You cannot beat them. But we've been in Florida now. My wife and 3 kids now have been here for 16 years. My mom is here. That's kind of why we moved down. My brother's here, and I have a lot of other extensive and extended family here. We want to do some new and exciting things in culinary for you guys, and we just want to make sure it's a great overall experience. Give us some time. We've got some equipment, new equipment we're bringing in that we have to, but we're going to get it done. And if you ever have any questions or concerns, you've got to let me know. because if I don't know, I can't fix it. That's what I try to tell everybody. If I don't know what went wrong, what we did wrong, because everybody can have a bad day, right? The cook can always have a bad day. The chef can have a bad day. He did something wrong, sent something out burnt, sent something out undercooked or overcooked, but I've got to know so I can fix it and not have it happen again to that next person. And that's all I've got. Do we have any questions?
You're sure the food's going to be here?
I am not. I am not. I know we paid an expedite fee, which I won't say how much, but we paid an expedite fee to get it here and installed by Friday. We don't have confirmation of where it is currently. I said if we've got to, go get my barbecue grill from home and I got to cook barbecue outside, I'll do it. Or one here. I'm sure I can get some help from my staff and some residents as well to help me do that. So no, I'm not sure it's going to be here on time. But that was their best guess, and we're hoping to hit that mark. Yep. Thank you. Next up is Raleigh. He'll know better.
Thanks, Terrence. What a great addition to the Lutheran Haven. We're grateful to have his skill sets with us and whatnot. And so that's for you. To that point, so, when it rains, it pours. We've been struggling with staffing, and they finally get staffing back up, and then the hood system went down. And not in the hood system, it was the exhaust fan that actually failed, not the sprinkler system or anything else like that that's underneath it there. But because the exhaust fan's down, they can't do open flame cooking in there. You have no way to exhaust it out. So, we appreciate everybody's patience. We know it's a burden, not only on our own staff for what they've had to do to kind of work around all that, but for you residents because you've been on a limited menu. So I know those aren't the things you want to hear, but we expedited the piece coming in. We were told the 17th. I was kind of hoping maybe it would have been here today and it could surprise everybody. Who knows? Still holding out hope for tomorrow. Tomorrow's a new day. We'll see. But I'm also a realist. So 17th is the best guess right now, and hopefully that thing will be back up and running. All right, so a little bit about that. I'll just kind of give you some project updates, some of our old friends up here, the mailboxes, the aquatic center, all that stuff, right? So I did talk to the contractor. We had gotten the permits a few months back, and then the county in their infinite wisdom says, well, now we got to inspect the concrete slab that's going on. Okay. We sent them everything. We dug back around the footers on it, showed up. They wouldn't accept it, made us get a third-party inspection on it. So we got the third-party inspection. It's passed. I talked to the contractor last week. He anticipated maybe being able to start this week, but more than likely next. I'm finally starting to put up the mailboxes. So that's building the structures. We already have all the mailboxes themselves in our warehouse or in his warehouse, and ready to go on that. So hopefully we start seeing some movement on the mailboxes finally before they fall down. Go figure. They lasted through 2 hurricanes last year, and we're probably going to get taken out by the heat. So that's where we're at with the mailboxes. The aquatic center. So we didn't have a town hall last month, but in lieu of that, I was up at the county offices for a pre-construction meeting. And basically what the pre-construction meeting was about was that they gave us the final issued permit for the site plan. So this is how the things work. Before you can build anything, you have to have a site permit. You have to have the plan. You have to show where everything's going, what the plan was. They finally issued us that plan. And then, believe it or not, we had to meet with the county engineer, and we had to meet with the county planner and the fire marshal. Why would you meet with the fire marshal in a swimming pool? You got all that water out there. Well, because on the pool area, they're building the cabana, and that's got electrical and mechanical systems in it. So they have to make sure that that's all, that we are aware of their requirements. And during the site work, they got to make sure that there's fire hydrants within 400 feet. I got about 10 of them out here that are in 400 feet. Only half of them work. The other ones are older. Don't worry about it. You're covered. So we got through that. We do have to take one tree down, and it's the one that's on the back side of the fellowship hall here, closest to the back side of the kitchen. It's got the low-hanging branch. That one has to come out because it's kind of right where the footers are going for the pool area. So you'll see that one tree coming down in the coming weeks. And the county says, okay, you're taking that one down. The county planner came out, measured the girth of the tree and says, with that being said, you got to put up, 4 2-inch trees. Well, we're putting up 10. We're going to overkill it, all right? But I can promise you they're not going to be an oak tree. Most of us won't see that to full maturity anyways. And I don't want the roots going into the pool and ruining our brand new pool when it eventually gets here. So what that does by having the site permit now is that allows our pool contractor and the cabana contractor, 2 separate contractors, when they finally finish answering the comments from the county can now unhindered release their permits to start the work. So I'm up at the county office and I'm talking to him, and Jim Delaney is one of the county inspectors that I've known for a long time. He's one of the few people left that has any it's one of the few people left that knows the old way of doing things. You know what I was about to say, but striking that from record. I said to him, I said, Jim, you understand that whatever credibility I had left is gone. These people are not going to believe seeing a permit. They're not going to believe anything's happening until a porta potty and a ditch witch shows up outside. So hopefully at that point in time, that was 2.5 weeks ago, the pool contractor was anticipating 2 to 3 weeks to finally get his comments cleared and get his pool permit. The mechanical or the cabana contractor is going to take a little bit longer because he's got a lot more departments to go through with electrical and mechanical engineering. So theoretically, the pool contractor can start first before, and hopefully in his course of doing his work and excavating and all that, the cabana contractor can get his permit, and then they'll have the coordination towards the end of putting up the cabana and all the stuff. The cabana is the bathhouses and the little porte-cochere that'll be out there for us to sit under and things like that. So that's where we're at with that. I'm still holding out hope that sometime this year we'll see that ditch witch in the ground. I can only give you what I know right now. The utilities have all been mitigated. There's one AT&T line that has to come out. A couple months ago, I got an invoice in mail from AT&T to the tune of $28,000. And we fought them on it and said, well, you can't prove to me that the line's dead, so I'm not paying the invoice. Finally, they came back and admitted that we were right and that they were going to remove the line at their expense. So $28,000 we didn't have to pay. So one shred of good news on that. And then the other utility one is TECO. TECO isn't going to be affected by anything we're doing. They just have to have their lines and equipment in by the time the pool equipment goes in. So they're just working on finalizing their legal description of their easement that they have to bring it down and around to the back of the fellowship hall. So that's where we're at with the aquatic center. We're getting close. All right. This is a little hard to see because I couldn't just explode this up here for you, but I wanted to talk to you a little bit about refurbs. There's been a lot of questions on refurbs, and why do we have so many? Why do they take so long? What's going on with our refurb process? So a little while back for our board of trustees, I kind of put a matrix together on what we've had going on. Just taking a last 2.5 year sample, so from 21 through today. Through today, currently, and it's a little further down, but like I said, I had to enlarge it so you could see some of the numbers. So just bear with me as I explain this. Through today, from 21 all the way through yesterday, we've done 55 refurbs. 55 refurbs out of 224 independent living units. Do the math. Okay, that's been quite a bit, all right? Now, the interesting number I pointed out to the board was, of those 55, 18 of those were landings units on a building that's less than 5 years old. So it was just kind of a little interesting play there on doing the, on the makeup of the refurbs. We've had a lot of people that have come into the landings, and a lot of people have migrated out of the landings. Landings units don't take us very long. They're usually patch and paint. All right, we can get them done in about 1 to 3 weeks, depending on if we can do it in-house or if it's more extensive and we have to get a contractor, then we're on their schedule. We turn them around that quickly, but that doesn't mean that they are sold that quickly, right? So marketing has to reach out, and they could have people that aren't just ready to move in yet. That's why Stephanie was up here going, if you know of anybody, we got some people, all right? We need some people. But that's the landing side. On the cottage side of things, we've done quite an extensive amount of work. Now, we were doing new floor plans up until about last year. We finished our final one. We decided we weren't going to do any new floor plans in sections 2 and 3 because they were getting too expensive and they were taking too long. You know, when they do the new floor plans, they had to gut the whole unit. They have to go through all kinds of permitting to get these things in, and they were taking way too long to get these done. Not to mention that, you know, when you look at the side of things and you're trying to get people in here, we have people that kind of forewent some of those just to move into something else right off the bat. So we've taken that piece out of the process. By doing so, that's released one of our contractors to be another full-time contractor. So we now have 2 contracting groups out here doing our refurbs, which should speed up the amount of refurbs we have to do. But there's another thing to consider. The amount of refurbs we've gotten back out here, the vast majority of them, especially the Section 4 units, have been 30 years old. They've needed a lot of updating. They're not simple turnovers. These were original, you know, people who have moved in here who are now phasing out. So I'll even step back one step further. 3 years ago for the board, I did a demographics matrix of the Haven, showing them all kinds of numbers and statistics and whatnot. Anybody want to guess what the average age of the Haven is? Close, 85. That was identical both in the cottages and in the landings. Also, what was neat about that was that when I showed them who the older residents versus, you know, the number of younger residents moving in, they were almost identical in both the landings and the cottages. It's kind of neat. All right. Now, with that being said, the industry average, the bell curve average in independent living is about 12 years. Does anybody want to guess what the average is here at the Haven? 72. Yeah, well, that's what it seems like, right? You got a lot of those higher numbers at 30, right? 30 plus years. It's more like 15 to 16 years. My point is that here at the Haven, if it's whether it's in the water or something else, it seems we tend to stay longer in our units. Okay, what you're seeing, that was 3 years ago. What you're seeing now is the downside of that, the backside of that bell curve. And those people who have been here a long time are now phasing out. They're going to other facilities, their assisted living or whatever, the next level of care, I should say. So you're seeing all those units that have been in inventory for a long time are now coming available, and they need major updating. The Section 4 units take the longer time because those units, for those of you who are aware, right, have the old style sun porch in the back. You have to step down through the sliding glass doors. Well, that's not really conducive to living, especially as we go to an aging in place model. So we've got to raise the floor up. We got to put new windows in. There's a variety of things. The cabinets are old. There's a lot of updating that has to happen on these units. That requires permitting. That requires, it requires resources and things. So that's a little bit about our refurbs, and the numbers are kind of staggering. But, you think about it, we've done 55 refurbs in the last 2.5 years. That's quite a bit. That's a chunk of our inventory out here. Any questions on that particular piece before I jump into something else here? All right, so we talk about the time frame for turning around a refurb. That's varied over the past few years. For instance, a turnaround, as I mentioned on the landings, can last 1 to 3 weeks, right? And that's just our turnaround time. That's not, marketing is doing the best they can to get people to sign up for these units as they become available. We were, a couple months ago, at 1 month, finally at 1 month at full capacity in the landings. At the end of this month, we will have 5 available units again. That's the turn. All right. Now we're turning those around. They're easy turns, but you got to find people to come back into them. Marketing is doing everything they can. And that, it depends on the scope of work. Again, we're not doing any new floor plans going forward in sections 2 and 3 because of the cost factors and whatnot. And I talked about section 4. We're getting back a lot of the older units that take a while to go. So look, pre-COVID, on units outside of sections 2 and 3 new floor plans is what it was supposed to say. We were turning units around in about a 45-day turnaround time. But things have changed. Right? Now, during COVID, because the supply chain, had slowed down, We had labor force issues, not only in our own labor force, but with our contractors. And at that time, we had two contractors, but one was doing strictly new floor plans, and the other one was doing everything else. All right, that kind of really slowed things down. I can't even throw you a number. I mean, we know on some units it took us almost a year. There was one new floor plan that took us a full year to get done because of the permitting process and the supplies. So we've had to try to get creative in what we do. You know, we're doing things like we're trying to incorporate new windows into the renovation process now because we know our infrastructure is getting older. So what we're doing now, where we can, we're saying, okay, we're going to wait for somebody to move in, then we'll put the windows in. That's not going to hold up the closing process. But on some of the Section 4 units that have the older porches, we can't do that because you have to do everything at once. You can't just close off the sun porch to do the rest of the stuff. Those are just little things that, factors that affect our turnaround times. But now that we have 2 full-time contractors, we're anticipating that this process will speed up. Things are getting better. For a while there, windows were taking about 6 to 8, 9 months. Now they're about 6 to 8 weeks. So it's a little bit better now. We are still experiencing some things on appliances. We're having a hard time with appliances at times, but we're getting creative and, calling around and finding different things that we can get. So we're doing the best we can to speed up the refurb process. And I think Jerry and I were looking at the occupancy earlier. What are we're currently about 93, 94%, right in there occupancy for our community. That's not too shabby if you look at some of the other communities out there. There's some like John Knox that's, in the 80s. I mean, you don't think, think, oh, okay, they'd be at 88%, we're at 94, no big deal. That 6% makes a big difference. So we're doing pretty good occupancy-wise. We'd love to be around 97, but you're always going to have some natural turnover. That's just the nature of it. You're always going to get caught up, and then I think in my 14 years here, there's only been one time, and for about 6 months, where we didn't have any refurbs going on. To give you some other cannon fodder here, when I first got here, we had 48 vacant units on campus. 12 of them were in Section 4. 12 of them. Now we're here today, we got refurbs going on, and out of all of our refurbs, we've got, as Stephanie mentioned earlier, we've got 3 closings, 2 more this month and 1 in the beginning of September. That's going to drop our count down to around 12, 13, okay? And then out of those 12 to 13, 5 of those are going to be landings units, which we anticipate getting those turned around pretty quickly. That drops that number down a little bit further. And out of those remaining 8, only one of them is older than about 2 months right now in the pipeline. The rest of them have just come available. So you're always going to have some natural turnaround. And out of all those, we have at least, if I did my final count today, about 6 of them that are spoken for already. So that's really not bad as they mine that wait list. Just to give you some perspective of what we're up against with the refurb process. Is there any questions on that? Does any of that make sense? Yes, Roger.
I have 2 questions.
Let me bring the microphone to you. How's that?
A couple of years ago, there was some surveyors here doing some work. And my first question is, what was the purpose of the surveyors? What were they doing? And then the second question is, after you charge a buy-in, is there an average amount of money that's left for the people that buy in as opposed to what needs to be refurbished, the cost?
Okay, so I only have one question, as they say, with 2 parts. Yes, no, that's so to your first question, there were surveyors here a couple years ago. That could have been any number of things. Where were they exactly? In Section 4? Yeah. So part of that survey work was while we were working on the Nordquist property, trying to get it incorporated into Section 4, because that was part of us getting the zoning change on the Nordquist property. So in order to do that, the surveyors had to come out and resurvey all of Section 4 and to be able to show that we can include that into the count. So that was that one. The second question was, is there any money left or set aside, is that your question, off of your advance fee when you move in for other residents and stuff, right? I mean, for maintenance items and things like that? Yes, there is. There's some that are set aside for like your, we always put some money aside for your road infrastructure, things of that nature, whatever needs to be repaired out here. That's constantly going on. Okay. Any other questions on that? Yes. What about the buy-in price and the liens? What about it? I don't think it has it. That hadn't changed, has it? Or not yet. Not yet. Not yet. And it's certainly not going to change for you because you've already moved in. So. Yeah. Yep. All right. So moving on, it's just some general items here that I just want to go over after going through all of that stuff. We now have a dishwasher in the fellowship hall. Hey, no more doing dishes by hands. Okay, we got that installed. I say that because I just want to bring up some general reminders about utilizing the fellowship hall. All right, if you have a group that utilizes the fellowship hall, that's not a staff-driven event, but I'm talking about a resident-driven event. If you have a group that uses it, please clean up after yourself, okay? Especially if you're utilizing the kitchen. All right, now that we have a dishwasher and you utilize our plates and stuff out there, put them in the dishwasher when you're done, and then plan on a time that you can come back and unload them and put them back away. And I'm not trying to be harsh on that, but it takes many hands to get everything done. A lot of times things are left behind, and then Lori has to come in on top of everything else she's got to do and put everything away. Now, I'm not saying that always happens. Sometimes people clean up, but and that's not just a reminder for you. That's a reminder for our staff as well. We're constantly telling our staff that use the fellowship hall to make sure that they do these things as well. If you want to utilize the fellowship hall for an event, birthday parties, you want to start a new group or whatever, please coordinate that through Lori. All right, Lori, because she keeps a calendar in here and there's lots of things that are going on. So just coordinate that through her and she can get you set up with a date or something like that to be able to utilize the fellowship hall. But again, and then when you do that, she's got the cleaning guidelines and where everything is at and the proper protocols for going through that. And actually, if you have any questions, if you get with her and have any questions, come to me because I'm the one that wrote it. Just saying. Yeah, we do have a housekeeping department. They do come through here generally and do scheduled cleaning and whatnot. But, we all need to clean up after ourselves as we use the hall. It's for everybody. It's for the community. Right? And so these are just general reminders on what the expectations are to keep it clean. It shouldn't have to fall on any one person's shoulder, especially with our staffing levels right now. So anything we can do to help each other out would be greatly appreciated. And then with so many activities going on, we need to be flexible with the space. There may come times where we have to say, okay, you know what, we got something coming up and we might need this space and there's only a small group of you in here. We might need to shift you down to the Magnolia room or something like that. Just be flexible with us. As activities grow, as Lynn Parsons pointed out, that Vince's class is growing. That's wonderful. And the side benefit to that is Coffee Clutch on Monday morning is growing. This is a wonderful thing. We love the activities out here. But our problem right now, we don't have enough space. All right. We were joking the other day, how quickly can we add on to the fellowship hall? Not soon enough, right? But so in the meantime, we've got to get creative with the usage of the space. So please coordinate all that through Lori and just be patient with us as we try to accommodate, because we do want to accommodate more activities and more events for people, because that's part of who we are here at the Haven. All right. I don't need to tell you school's back in, right? Especially over at St. Luke. Now public schools were back in. I think all the counties are back in as of this week. So there's a lot of traffic, especially at St. Luke. Just a general reminder to avoid those areas during the school traffic times. We have been setting up the cones in the mornings in front of the lodge and monitoring that to try to keep people from driving onto our campus. Some of them get frustrated when they see the cones coming from this side, and I put them back out on Aloma, and then they got to fight to get in and just go 50 feet to get back down. Well, they'll learn the next time, hopefully. So just be aware that we may miss some people from time to time, and if you're out walking, just be careful. All right, just please be careful. Second thing I want to bring up is that if you see a contractor's dumpster out by a refurb unit, please don't put anything in it. Okay. We also know that we have people from outside the community that like to come into our community and use our dumpsters. But we had one over by your unit not that long ago when we were refurbishing that unit, and it wasn't even there 24 hours and it was already full. And guess who has to pay for that dumpster to be emptied so we can get another one in? Okay? So if you see somebody using that dumpster, especially if they don't look like they belong here, report it. Let me know. I have asked the contractors to make sure that they identify their dumpsters going forward as being theirs, put up some sort of signage on it or whatever. I've also addressed contractors and where they park, not blocking the streets out, as that was an ongoing problem there. So I've done it from my end with the contractors, but help me if you see other people using those dumpsters or doing those things to put the word out that they're not supposed to be doing that, okay? And then lastly, if we send a contractor out to your house to do something because we had to get a contractor out there, please don't ask them to do other things for you. Well, please. Send in your work orders, okay? That's how we capture things. But, we've had to send contractors out to do a door jam or something. And the next thing you know, they're reporting to me they got asked to do 5 more things while they were in the unit. Again, who pays for that? Okay? So, any questions on any of those things right there? Yes, Paul.
5 times I sent a note in. And today, it still has got a problem. I was even got a note from one of the guys that did the work that I was not an inspector. I had no right to, he was working on my house and I had no right to say anything to him. And that's a BS.
Duly noted. You want to talk after the meeting?
No, we've already talked with somebody.
Okay.
And he came and looked at the job. He sent another man. And it's still got a problem. I don't know who you hire from. But for God's sakes, they ought to have enough common sense and ability to know what they're supposed to be doing.
Thank you for sharing, Paul. Yes, Jeannie.
Well, this isn't anything that
No, I had something hanging off my pant leg there.
this is kind of separate. The last week and a half when we've walked in the evening, there has been a silver Camry parked by the dumpster at the Penguin and Haven Drive parking area. A man in it with a green shirt on, some kind of writing, I don't know what it is. Have we hired security or? No. Okay, he sits there. We normally walk 7:30 to 8 o'clock, and he is frequently sitting at that spot. So I don't know whether that's.
What he looks like?
Not really. He stays in the car. I saw that same car too. Yeah. And I asked some of your ladies about it, but I haven't seen it. Yeah, the windows are tinted. He stays in the car. I can see that he wears a green shirt with some writing on it, but I can't, yeah.
I think I know who it is. There is a caregiver for somebody in the landings that goes out to the car quite frequently, parks out there on break time and things of that nature. If that's who I think it is, I will address it and ask them to park in appropriate spots and to not look so shady. Yes, Pat.
Are you advising the contractors to pass on to their employees where to park their cars when they're working on the places? Because like on the cul-de-sacs, you tell us not to park in the cul-de-sac circle and it'll be filled up with contractors' people sometimes.
Yes, that's what I have been doing, is advising them where to park. Doesn't mean they always listen, right? But between Nancy, who's our refurb coordinator, and myself, we are going out and addressing that with them. For that reason, if we expect our residents not to park there, we expect our contractors to find somewhere to park as well. We do know that there's going to be times when it's just going to be hard for them to park, especially if but our main idea was get there, offload your equipment, go park somewhere else, park down straightaway or something where you're not going to choke out traffic, and especially our EMTs coming through.
Yes. Or if they're on both sides of the road.
Right, exactly. Yes, ma'am. Any other questions for me before I turn it? Yes. Oh, hold on. Who was?
You didn't comment at all about the refurbs for the 2 burned out units.
Oh. Okay, no, that's fair enough. So he did get the final clearance from the county and got his final permits released to do the work on those 2 units. Well, when I talked to him last week, he was hoping within a week or 2, and I reminded him of what we talked about and saving that one piece for you. So, absolutely, yes.
One thing I've noticed is especially employees who are driving the golf carts around, they are not observing stop signs.
You're right. That's been an ongoing issue, and we constantly have to remind the staff. They go through once a year golf cart training safety course as well, just so you're aware.
If they do it, yank their license.
Okay. Sir.
Insurance on golf carts, according to the state law, they're supposed to have insurance on those cars for liability. Now, I went through the golf cart deal, and USAA, I had to get insurance. I didn't have to, but I got insurance. And when the guy found out that I didn't have insurance, he sort of scolded me a little bit about it. So I recommend that these people make sure that they got their golf carts insured, just in case either they or an automobile hits them. And it could happen here easy.
Good point. Very fair point. Everybody hear that? Talking about insuring your golf carts. Go through your auto insurance for that. They should be able to do that for you. Anybody else have any questions? Yes, Pastor.
The mailbox, outgoing mail between Penguin and Woodpecker, the outgoing mailbox does not lock. Therefore, it is not safe to put in mail, especially with all the thefts that being going on with mail trucks and this kind of thing. So that lock's been broken for months.
Okay. Thank you. The mailbox structure on Haven Drive before you get to the roundabout, the outgoing mail lock is broken. So my suggestion would be, at the time being, for those of you who are listening, take your outgoing mail over to the concierge at the landings if you want it securely sent out until we get that broken. Until we get that fixed. It's already broken. Faux pas there. No, I'm used to it. Any other questions before I hand it over to Jerry? All right. Thank you for your time. I'll let you have the clicker.
Thank you. All right. Good afternoon. Wow. I forgot what I was going to say because Raleigh, whoo, that was an update right there. All right, let me get this. Let's see if I can get this. There we go. All right, well, I want you to take a look at this. I don't know if many of you guys have been to the movies lately, but I went to Oppenheimer. So I've been told that I use too many numbers a lot of times, so I went with an equation for today. I'm not going to say that it's the most mathematically accurate, but I want you to remember that equation because we are going to come back to it in just a minute. I failed algebra. I didn't the third time. I got better each time at it. So today I wanted to talk about three things. Kind of just, I always find it interesting because I am kind of a numbers guy. That and I wanted to try and go back a little bit as we celebrate our 75th anniversary and kind of, what is the Haven and who is the Haven today? And then I want to look at the year in review. So what's been going on this past year? We've got a couple more weeks left, but it's been an interesting year, and I want to talk about that a little bit, at least from my perspective. And then we want to look at the year ahead and what that we hope holds for the Haven. So I'll try and move reasonably quick through everything. First, is what is the Haven? So the Haven is basically the realized vision of Andrew Duda Sr. and many of the four founders of Slavia more than 75 years ago. So the Haven itself is a vision that they had, and it's been realized. It was built upon a foundation of faith and caring about and for each other in a community. And while many things have changed over those 75 years, the heart of that mission and ministry hasn't changed a bit. Caring for people in a Christ-centered environment hasn't changed in 75 years, hasn't changed from that vision. Now, the people that the Haven has served has changed. We used to serve children, etc. That's changed a little bit. But again, providing a haven of care for people, that's the mission and ministry of Lutheran Haven. That was the vision of those folks 75 years ago that got this whole episode, got this whole thing going. So as we look at ourselves today, we have 276 living units. That counts the memory care and the assisted living. That doesn't count the renovations that we're doing. So we have 276 living units, over 330 residents call this campus home. And we have 135 plus or minus on any given day staff that in a case like mine, I call this a home as well. Our peeps, so who makes up our population here, 56% of our population is single. So 44% of our population are couples by default, right? 61% are female, 39% male. 58% of our folks have been here for less than 5 years. Pretty amazing, right? Had a lot of new faces over these past few years. We have 26% of our residents have been here for 10 years or more. And I think we have about 5 or 6% who have been here for more than 20 years. So that leaves about 15 or so percent have been here for 10 years or so. So that's kind of just a quick down and dirty, kind of remembering where we came from, and through all of these things that we've been through and other generations before us have been through over the decades that are put around the walls that Linda put together and presents. The more things change, the more they stay the same. We still are doing the same thing we did 75 years ago, which I think is pretty cool. So the year in review, we did a lot. We had a 5-year plan that we talked about last year, and we're coming to the end of year 1 of that plan. And if you look at our plan, we have pretty much accomplished most of the things that we set out to do. We've got our renovations going. The aquatic center is moving along, even though you can't really see much of it moving along. It is moving. Our health concierge, Julie and her team, have really come a long way in processes and services. We got our therapy program going. Clinic services have really expanded. Our fitness program's expanding. We've done a lot this year. But when I first was thinking about the year in review, I started going back to the very first thing, and there's no particular order to the things that I've listed up here. It's just the way it came into my mind. The one thing there is because we've all done this together. We're a community. We're the Lutheran Haven, and we do these things together. We care about each other. We celebrate with each other, and we hurt with each other. But we started the year. We came together. Oddly enough, where are you, Les? You asked the question about the refurbished units. Early in September, we all came together as a community and rallied around our friends and neighbors who had a fire in their place and lost a lot. It was really kind of cool. We got together for hurricanes. We celebrated. We've celebrated the birth and resurrection of our Lord and Savior. We've celebrated new love. We've had weddings. We've celebrated enduring love, 50, 60 years of anniversaries. So we celebrated together. We traveled, a lot of Savannah, Nashville, I think, and elsewhere. We've said farewell to our families, some of our family members, some of our friends, some of our neighbors. We've also said hello to new neighbors. This past year, we had 31 new folks join our Haven community, which is pretty awesome. We laughed. We laughed at each other. We laughed with each other. We laughed at ourselves. And we cried together. We cried in times of happiness, and we cried when times not so happy. But we were there together. We lashed out sometimes in frustration because things didn't go like we wanted, or we just got mad about something. But we also forgave because we're a family and we're a community in Christ, and that's what we do. It's part of what makes the Haven the Haven. We endured. We endured the fires. We endured 2 hurricanes. We endured the impact of staffing that we had to close the dining room for a little while. We were down to 1 cook. We've endured that. We worshiped. We worshiped together. Awesome. ALF is now worshiping in person, 50 some odd people. Flea market. We talked about having the prayer tent. We had a prayer vigil. We worshiped together. It's really, it's awesome. And then right under that goes along kind of with worship, we prayed. Did a lot of praying every day. And we survived. We made it through a year. It was a tough year. But we made it. And we did it just like this community has done it for 75 years. All the people before us, there were tough times. I forget what year it was, but we went back and we found there was a year the Haven was barely hanging on. And it took a few years to get it turned around. So more things change, the more they stay the same. So that's where we are. We've been doing it together. We've been doing it as a community, as a Christ-centered community, exactly like our forefathers and our forebears intended as we moved on. And then for me, we give thanks. And I know you guys do too. Give thanks that we have this place called the Haven, that we can go through all of this together, and that we have each other that we can go through it together with. And we'll be giving special thanks for that on August 29th. Don't forget. There's a little celebration going on over at St. Luke's. But so when I look back through the year, yeah, we ticked off some things on our plans, but we did a lot of living, and we survived, and I think we grew closer. And hard year, not a bad year. And I'm thankful to have been here and enjoyed that year, the good and the bad, with you guys and being here at the Haven. So that was kind of my year in review, and that was a little bit from the heart for me. Looking at the year ahead, year 1, we focused on addressing those primary needs, the biggest needs in our repositioning that we need to do as an organization, and that was addressing the issues with the assisted living and getting the aquatic center going. And year 2, we look at primarily these secondary areas of service. So we look at our spiritual. We look at each one of our programs. We're looking at growing in each one of those programs. So that doesn't mean when I've got up here these growing and improving in these areas, that doesn't mean we're not looking at all the other things. This is just where the emphasis is this year. So there's a whole lot of list of what we're doing. But we're going to focus on, and I think you heard this throughout most of the presentations, we want to get people back out into the community. That's why, pastors looking for volunteers in the hospitality thing. Deborah looking for volunteers to help call out bingo. When I first got here, one of the things that just amazed me was how involved you guys and the people who were here then in the daily lives and the daily goings on of the Haven. And when you look at the flea market, it just blows you away. And so there's a lot of opportunity that we can do. So we're going to be looking at all those areas and what can we do, what new things can we do, what things can we do differently. But that's the focus for this year, is really on trying to improve those areas. And we know we have challenges ahead of us. Terrence walked in, and like he said, it was baptism by fire, and we are so blessed that he's here. Our spiritual care team has grown. Alyssa, if she's still around here, to add to spiritual care. We've got Vince with standing room only in his fitness classes. So we've got the year is going to be starting off really good, I think. So now we go back to the equation. And the equation has to do with funding the year. So we look at, and I want to talk a little bit about how we plan for and pay for the year coming up. I'm not going to take a whole lot of time doing it. I gave all my numbers in the first part when I was talking about how many of you guys have been here for how long, etc. But I do want to provide you with some context and kind of a larger idea of how we came up with our numbers. And for more in-depth conversations, Michael and I can talk individually. We don't need to have an accounting convention or anything today. But this is the equation. This is the equation that we use essentially to budget. So the budget equals the mission and the ministry, and it's a function of mission and ministry and the economy that we operate in. It's basically as simple as that. Our board gives our management and says, this is what we want the mission and ministry to do this year. These are the areas we want to do, things that we want to do. So we take that and we look at that in the context of what we're currently doing, and we look at that in the context of what's going on in the economy, not necessarily always what's happened in the past in the economy, because it really matters what's going to happen next year, because that's what we're planning for. So we look at the various, and primarily for us, that's going to be labor costs. It's going to be supplies and the supply chain, transportation costs, and maintenance. Those are the things that drive the boat for us right now. And so we look at that, and we look at every program in the context of those things, and we look at what that program does, how it operates. Is it operating well? Can we tweak it? Can we do this or that with it? And is that program accomplishing what we want it to accomplish? And then that's the mission and ministry part. That's where we look at that. And then we look at, okay, now what's the economy going to do that we're going to operate in it? So our equation for the budget is pretty much that simple. Mission and ministry as a function of the economy we operate in equals the budget. That's what we do. So now we talk about how the rates come about out of that budget. So the budget determines how much money we need, how much extra money we're going to need for the upcoming year, or we anticipate needing given all these economic conditions. So Michael and I, along with the board, we do this all with the board, and we look at different factors. We look at the direct costs, the allocated costs for each area, and then we do some financial modeling as to if we do this, what if we do this, or what if we use this combination of expenses or increases versus that combination of increases. And then we look at it, that's kind of the science part of it, or the objective part of it. Then we look at it subjectively and say, does this represent, is this a fair and equitable representation? Is one group paying or doing more than the other group or doing whatever? So there is a subjective piece to it. And then we make that determination of what's the most equitable way to do that. And the thing about it, and I used to use the word fair, and equitable is close to fair, but the thing with fair is it's kind of like beauty. It's in the eye of the beholder. So it depends on which stick you're on. So in this set of circumstances, it's fair. It's fair to me. I think it's great. Fair to me. But it's maybe not fair to somebody else. So if you do it this way, maybe it's fair to them, but now it's kind of a little disproportionate here. So we have to put some subjectivity in it. We know that not everybody is going to think that it's fair when we do this. That's just the nature of it. But I did want to let you guys know, or at least give you an idea without going into all the dollars, because you already know what that is, what the process was, how we do it. It's board driven and economic driven, and it's basically math. So it's not, oh, we've got to make this much money so we can do this, or we've got shareholders to answer to. Nope, it's straight math. What do we think it's going to cost us to do this and keep them and meet our mission and ministry? And what is that mathematically? How does that shake out? And then how do we divide that pie? And so that is basically how we fund the year, and how we go about in the process that we go about doing it. And with that, as if it hasn't been long enough, I'll open it up for questions. Any questions? Oh, let me check to see if I got, let's see, hold on a second. Take us off that, and let's see. We have, I don't know if we're getting any, whoops. There we go. All right, well, let's see. Doesn't look like we've got any questions coming in over the phone line. So if there's no other questions, I wish you guys, oh, yes, sir.
Are you planning on hiring more maintenance people?
Okay, the question was, are we planning on hiring more maintenance people? The answer is, maybe not what you want to hear, but the answer is yes, because we know we're already one. I think we're about one down as it is. So and we know that there's going to be turnover. So yes, throughout the year we're going to be hiring some maintenance people, but we have we have enough. I think we might have one that we're still looking to hire, but we're pretty close to being fully staffed for maintenance. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I don't move as fast as Raleigh.
Last year we were hearing a lot about making the cost equitable compared to other type of facilities. I didn't hear any of that language this year.
Okay. Great. So you're going to love this. I got language. I got numbers too, if you want to see them. But I will summarize it so I don't torture you with all my analysis, paralysis by analysis. So we are still, by far, bar none, the best value in Central Florida. So with our rates, when we did our competitive analysis, we had communities. There were some that were a little bit lower than us in terms of percentage of increases. So there was a range of 4 to 18% increases. The majority fell in the range of about 6, I think, to 10, but there were some outliers there. And when you look at our rates, once we applied our percentages to the rates, when you look at that, we are still at about 65 to 70% of our competitors' rates for here. And so by far, we are still a great value. And Stephanie's got something to add. You got to speak in. Speak in the microphone.
Hopefully what I say is right. I was kind of asking you. Say it with authority. Okay, so, and I was thinking that's based on published rates, which most people, you know, the recent move-ins are paying our published rate, but most of the folks that live here, a lot of them are paying well below, so their rates are even more.
You're getting an even better deal, is what she's saying. Spoken like a marketer. And we looked at, I think we looked at like 6 or 7, is that about right? Stephanie does our analysis for us. About 6 or 7 communities, very similar to ours. We try and not include communities that we're not comparable to. And then if you look at communities, I'll give an example. Let's say the Tremont. So the Tremont's not like us, but it is a senior retirement kind of thing, and we're even a better deal than what I said before. So for the standalones that aren't really what we would call life plan type communities, or CCRC lookalike communities, that gap is even higher as we go on. And yes, sir. Well, that's a. I don't think we'll ever have enough for that, but we did build in that in our labor expectations. We factor in what we think wages are going to move by, and in a lot of cases, we have to look at even if we have a dollar amount, it's just people aren't there's not even bodies. So you've got some people that are just paying exorbitant prices. They still have openings, and we do. We just recently made some changes to some of our incentive plans, and hopefully that will help. I guess in a way we did, but we didn't build a ton because we can't be the highest payer in the neighborhood. And just to kind of give you an idea, for every % increase in our wages, in our labor costs, every % that goes up, every 1%, we need to make up about 0.5% in revenue. So we got to be really careful. We can't go really high, because what that means is it's going to come right back to you really high. And so what we do is we have a wonderful group of managers. You look at Julie's team; those guys have worked together 10+ years in many cases. Deborah's been here for a long time. So we have people, and we try and make it a great place to work. And you guys contribute to that, not just on the financial side, but the things and the love and the heart and the caring that you show to our employees, that keeps them here, because it's a great place to be, and they can make enough money to live. But any other questions? And then I will address, I think we had a question earlier about the new rates, coming in for new people moving in back in September. Those rates have not been decided yet. The board is, we're still looking at those and trying to decide what we want to do on those for the rates after September. And those rates, we can change those at any month. It's really you guys that we have that deadline of giving the rate increase notice. So we're really looking at that. We factor in what the market is. We factor in, again, the economy, and we factor in what our market, what the people we'd want to serve. We factor in, we try and factor in that. All that goes into that equation. So I hope that helps provide at least a little bit. But as soon as we know, you guys will know. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Some time ago, we had something like a social event between the staff and the residents. I think residents or the staff put on a show of some kind, and the residents were here to appreciate what they've done. I wonder if there's any possibility of having more of that kind of thing.
Okay. Well, there's always a possibility. That was what we did. That was the annual Christmas show, and it was awesome. Still, and so we used to do that. The staff would put on skits for you guys, kind of our way of trying to show our appreciation or celebrate the holiday season. And we thought, well, we've done it so many years. So a couple years ago, we switched, and COVID had probably a little bit to do with it. We switched to the parade, and we decorated the golf carts and all that. So the answer to your question is, yeah, we can look at it and do it again. And like I said earlier, with all the programs, you pretty much heard it in just about every presentation about getting residents more involved, either as volunteers or whatever. So interacting with the residents. We had a putting tournament over there too. And if I'm not mistaken, I could be, I did the accounting for it, so I know we won. So just, you can trust me on that. But I would love that because doing stuff with you guys is awesome. It's good stuff. It's what we want to do. Dunk tanks, yeah. My swimming lessons. My swimming lessons get going in there. Any other questions that we can? Nope. Okay, so you guys, thank you so much. I love you guys. Have a wonderful, blessed rest of your afternoon.